The power of art in political movements. A single image or piece of art can come to embody an entire movement. We saw it in Vietnam. We saw it in the civil rights movement. Now a new wave of political art is emerging across the country. And we spoke to some of the remarkable artists in the new social justice movement. When protests erupted after Trayvon Martin, an unarmed Florida teenager, was shot and killed in 2012, Nikkolas Smith had to process it all through his art.
The art is therapy for me.
Trayvon Martin had been wearing a hoodie when he died.
And I created this piece of Martin Luther King Jr. in a hoodie.
The portrait caught fire across the internet. When that piece of Martin Luther King in a hoodie started going viral,
yeah,
what was your first reaction?
I was kind of in shock. That's when I realized, like, this is a social experiment. If you look at Dr. King in a hoodie and say you feel threatened all of a sudden, you say that he looks like a thug, then that was the point, to show that it's really not about our outward appearance.
This past May, after the death of George Floyd at the hands of police, Black Lives Matter commissioned Smith to paint Floyd's portrait. There's a particular look on George Floyd's face in that painting.
Yeah.
How would you describe it?
I feel like his face is just questioning. It's saying, like, how could this have happened?
You left the painting kind of unfinished.
Yeah, his life was unfinished.
When a Black Lives Matter street mural was organized in Charlotte, North Carolina, Georgie Nakima knew she had to take part.
It's something where I kind of dropped everything that I was doing because I realized how important this was.
Nakima's colorful murals appear all over Charlotte.
My aim is to embrace this cultural diversity and give it some visual representation. And I'm trying to, like, recreate the narrative and tell one that is more uplifting and just conveys resilience.
On the Black Lives Matter collaboration, she was assigned a letter. You painted the M.
Yes, I painted the M.
It's a great looking M.
Oh, I do what I can, thank you.
When you stood back and looked at the final project, what did you see?
I think I saw a lot of hope, and I think I saw a big shift in the culture because it was not just Black people out there. So it was just a very humbling experience.
This is the motto.
This is the motto. This is
History is happening now is the motto for a new outdoor exhibit at the Museum of the City of New York called New York Responds. Chief Curator Sarah Henry has the daunting task of preserving history as we're living it.
The role of the artist and the visual image has been important for decades and decades because art is visual, it's emotional, and it's impactful.
And it's immediate.
And it's immediate.
To capture the moment, the museum's curators have been collecting images of both the pandemic and the protests shared on Instagram. It's amazing the power a single image can have.
Yes. So many movements in U.S. history have taken on a life in a single image. They are just seared in our memories. George Floyd's face, as captured by artists, is one of those.
It can grab people so fast. If I can grab people's attention, I want to grab it and show them how we can move forward.
After the response to his Martin Luther King Jr. in a hoodie portrait, Nikkolas Smith launched his Sunday sketch series on social media.
Every Sunday, I started creating pieces that reflect what's going on in the world, kind of based off of Nina Simone's quote of, it's an artist's duty to reflect the times.
Smith had spent 11 years designing theme parks for Disney Imagineering. But last summer, he quit to pursue his passion. He's made Hollywood movie posters and illustrated children's books. But the tragedies keep coming. In some ways, it must be very difficult for you to do all of these.
Yeah, especially Elijah McClain. It took some days to process.
It's different. It's all.
And then at some point, like, the grief and the anger takes over. Every time, it's just like, it gets to a boiling point where I'm like, I have to process this through my art. Like, I have to.
It's a bit of a paradox because as much inspiration as you're getting to make this kind of art, in many ways, you wish you didn't have it, right?
Absolutely. My goal is that I didn't have a job. I don't want to have any more hashtags, any more people to have to commemorate. These people should still be here.
You may have seen Smith's most recent viral work, two very notable portraits. The first is Chadwick Boseman as the King of Wakanda visiting a child with cancer. The second, maybe even more meaningful to Nikkolas, it's a portrait of his baby, Zion, who arrived in July just after we interviewed him, weighing 5 pounds and 6 ounces. He already has his own portrait. So our congratulations to Nikkolas and his lovely wife, Vanessa, who I also talked to. They're very proud parents at this point. But it's, as you see, this is proved to be an incredibly inspirational time, not necessarily in the most positive way, but it's these artists are very important to what's going on.
I like what she said, art is visual, emotional, and immediate.
Yes.
I love what you said to Nakima when you said, it's a very good-looking M. I thought, well, how good-looking could it be, Anthony? And then you showed it, and you went, well, Nakima, that is a very good-looking M. And she goes, yeah, I just sort of do what I can. And Nikkolas, good Lord,
I like
amazing.
remembering, as your piece does so well, that history is happening right now. We're living through it. It adds an edge to everything that we see each day. And you make a wonderful point. There is so much material right now, so much inspiration, but so much of it you don't want.
No.
What did you see, Anthony, that made you think, there's a story here, I want to do something?
Well, you know my stepfather was as a painter and artist, so I'm very affected by visual things, and I was really stunned by some of the images that came out of, particularly out of George Floyd's death. There were some really striking portraits that were very moving, and I just thought, you know, here it's happening again. I remember as a kid growing up during the Vietnam War, there were some very powerful images that came to symbolize everything. You see that, and you had an immediate reaction.
And then you thought, let me find out who's doing it?
Yeah.
And then, wow.
And that's what we did. We went looking for the people who were making the images that were being spread everywhere. And Nikkolas Smith is, as you said.
Where is he? Is he in?
I believe he's in California.
Wow.